All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Pop Culture Junkies. Today, I have a very special guest with me. I have Tony here from EGS, based on popular demand. Let's go, everyone. All right, everyone. So I have Tony here with me from EGS Grading Services. I got a lot of the comments in some of our previous videos that we should really check them out. And I figured, why don't I reach out to them and kind of give them a spotlight, get the message out about their product. I could find out some myself because I had questions myself. And they were gracious enough to get back with us within a couple days and be able to come on the show. So welcome, Tony. Thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it. I'm sure you've been hard at work grading books all day.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. For sure.
Yeah. Do you want to tell people a little bit about what is EGS exactly, and why did you start it?
Well, I mean, EGS, we are a third-party grading company, very pretty much like, CBCS and CGC. We offer, third-party grading. We certify your comic books. We also do signature authentication for your books.
Nice.
And we do offer pressing and cleaning as well. So really there's, as far as what we do, we pretty much do, what the other companies do, but we do things maybe just a little bit different than the other guys. So
what would you say, why did you decide to start and get in this industry to begin with?
It just started by me as a collector. I mean, I've been in the hobby for, 30, 40 years, man,
Right.
I mean, and I started, working at a comic shop back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So the comic shop I worked for, I was there for 6 years, 7 years. The owner kind of took me under his wing, taught me, the ropes, grading, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, things have changed since then. I mean, even like how you grade a book has changed drastically from then to now. But, I've been in the hobby for this long. And why I started EGS is really just, not liking how the other companies were doing business and treating people.
Yeah.
I thought that there would be room for another company to come in and maybe, offer something a little bit different than the other guys.
Yeah.
So that's really why I did it, right? Because like everybody else, I mean, I was just getting frustrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just with inconsistencies and no transparency, and it's like, these guys can pretty much just do whatever they want, right? And it is what it is. So that's when I decided, I think, I want to jump into this market and give people, something different.
Yeah.
And me being the collector and being in the industry, I mean, I had a pretty good feeling of what, people were wanting. So that's really why I started it.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting industry in that there really isn't a lot of competition, and the frustrations that people have, and you hear it frequently from people. They're like, if I had more options, I just want more options. I don't want to have to deal with what I have to deal with here, but I don't have a ton of other options. And that's one of the reasons I was interested in having you on, because it's like, well, maybe there are options, guys, but people have to start taking advantage of those options, so to speak, or at least exploring them to see what they have to offer. Like, we can't continue to complain that there's no other options, right? I can't make videos every week complaining about a lack of options and then not actually explore, because there are apparently some other options, right?
Yeah. Of course.
And so I think what was interesting for me, like a few months back, I had done a video about CBCS and really just taken my background's in business, it's in healthcare business, but taken a lot of the things that you just learn and when you're getting your MBA and your business degree, and a lot of the advantages that people can take in a market. And it really was pointing out the ways that CBCS really doesn't do that outside of their QR codes, which was pretty genius. But
Yeah.
one of the things I did recognize is when I was looking at the EGS website, a lot of those things you guys do take advantage of. I think looking at particularly the title cards on your product, it's interesting to see how much customization and difference there is. And I think that to me, like that's appealing to me, right? I used to be a Magic card nerd, and it like first you had foils, and you had alternate versions, and so like seeing that different customization is like, it's really, I think it's a great option. And I'm again, you can see it's there because CGC does it with their little custom section, right? And so it was like watching CBCS be like so fixed on it has to be this title card, and we want the book to be the star and not the title card. And it's like, guys, people are paying for your service to see your big 9.8 number. The title card is part of the show at this point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I thought that was really cool looking at your website. How did you come to that decision?
It was just one of those, it wasn't done on purpose.
Yeah.
When I first opened, we were just like, everybody else just had the,
blue and the yellow.
Blue means this, yellow means this, right? Yeah. And then I was actually on the phone with another YouTuber at the time.
Yeah.
And we were just, because, we would just kind of go back and forth. He would kind of tell me things, and I would, we would just shoot it back and forth, right? I mean, just what was on our mind or whatever. And he had said he was saying that he had this book. I want to say it was a Harley Quinn book. But he was saying, he goes, what would be crazy and insane? And I was like, what? He's like, if I could get like a pink label to
set it off
to pop to make this cover just pop, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as he said that, it's like the light bulb just went on. I'm like, you might be onto something here. I'm like, you're right. I'm like, why do we need to conform to this means this and this means this and this means this, right? Yeah. I mean, it's your book, right? So, you should have the say of, hey, I want it to look normal like the other guys, or I want to change it.
Right.
Because it's your book, right? I mean, just because you change color or put a character on a label, the grade is the grade. It's a certified grade.
Right. None of that affects the grade.
None of that affects the grade.
Right.
So, and from that on, I just started saying, what could we do to make this happen?
Yeah.
And a few months later, we decided to do it. I mean, it took some time because, you have to do things different and get some different programs and stuff to make the labels and such a certain way. You have to learn all that, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of implementation.
As soon as we felt like we knew what we were doing,
right?
Then we launched it, and it's been I tell you, it's been such a hit with everybody.
I've kind of noticed that in looking at the books out there. I don't see a lot of the same label twice. So it seems like people are picking a lot of different choices. Like it's not all of them are red and black. Maybe a lot of the Spider-Mans, but it seems like people are picking the choices. And like I said, I think coming from that background of, and even with comics, right? We talk a lot on our channel about flavor of the month and variants. And I'm a variant junkie. My partner Chris is not. But you show me a shiny variant or a different cover, and I'm probably going to buy it, just like buy 6 versions of the same book. And so that
Sure.
title card's just the same thing, right? It's another
Yep.
piece of customization for my collection when I'm displaying it, and I get some control over it. Like that's the
Yep.
cool part.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just there's I want to say there's at least 20 plus options on your site.
Yeah. Plus the custom option. We can do it. We can do something custom for you too. Which
Yeah,
is,
hey, let's not jump ahead too far there.
yeah.
I do want to
Yeah.
touch on that towards the end. Trust me, I won't forget. But that's a whole other ball game. Like that is a huge. How often do you think you get custom orders? I guess let's just talk about it.
Oh boy. I would probably say if I put colored labels and custom labels into one group and said, okay, what percentage of those am I getting just towards regular plain labels?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's probably 70-30
Wow.
with the colored or custom opposed to just the regular.
Yeah.
label.
I believe it.
Now, if you want to break up that custom to colored label,
Yeah.
it's probably a little more color.
Okay.
I'll
I mean, it
probably-
costs more for custom, right? So it's
It
gonna.
does. It'll cost 5 more
Right.
actually for the custom opposed to the colored.
I mean, that's to be fair, guys. That's a pretty reasonable cost. $5 is a pretty reasonable cost to be able to have complete control over your own completely custom label on your book. I mean, that's so. And for everyone that's watching and doesn't know, Tony and I have never met. I'm not out here like we have no handshake agreement on anything. So when I tell you I think something's cool that they're doing, it's just because I looked it up on their website in the past few weeks and I really think it's a cool idea. So I know there's going to be people in the comments that think I'm just shilling for something, and it's not. I saw it and thought that's $5 to get a custom label is pretty reasonable to give you that much control. I think one of the things I was going to tell the team, I was going to wait till the end, but I am going to put my money where my mouth is, guys, before the end of this, because I think it's only fair. Like I said, if there's other options out here, we need to be able to explore them. So I'm going to send in this Draculina. I'm going to send it in. I'm going to work with them to do a custom Pop Culture Junkies title card, and then I'm going to give it away here on this show. So putting my money where my mouth is. That's an adult joke for this cover, kids. Don't repeat it. And so I'm actually going to do that, and so I'll work with you guys offline on that and see what we can come up with because I think it's an awesome idea. It's one of the first things I thought of. Like I could send in my books that I want to give away on my show and get a custom Pop Culture Junkies title card somehow. I think that's a potential area where you guys could explode, but that brings us back to influencers and everything else, and I guess that'll lead to my next question, which really got me interested in talking to you guys is, do you know, are you familiar with acetategate and what's going on with the acetate covers? And if so, how do you guys plan to handle that in grading?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, huge topic. They want to grade invisible comics and make up grades and give those blue labels, and they want to do this stuff with this. I mean, there's no need for me to, to make responses, right? I know CBCS came out with their thing, and, I mean, that's fine. But, as far like if that book was submitted to us, right? The way I would handle it would be, to me, I would grade it as a facsimile.
Yeah.
Right? And then on top of that, I'm going to ding the hell out of it because it's got 2 extra staples,
right,
added to the book.
Right.
Where are these 9 9s and 10s or 9 8s? I mean,
hey,
I just, I'm not going to, I don't want to get into.
I hear you. I'm not going to ask you to. I understand that that's not, you don't want to be the person that weighs in and says that.
No.
I'll tell you at home, kids, I find it suspicious that someone handled a comic book enough to put 2 extra staples in it and it was still a 10.0. I will tell you that I feel that way as a fan, guys, but I'm not going to make Tony say that out loud. No, I really appreciate you taking the time to take a very thought out response to that too. Like I said in one of my other videos, it kind of opens the door for, especially with the kind of the precedent they set someone could literally staple a Post-it note to a cover if they're an established artist.
CGC is their own company. They're privately owned, just like all the rest of us are,
Right.
Which means pretty much they could do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want,
Yeah.
and it's up to you to use them or not, right? So, but again, I think this has definitely opened up some more eyes, at the very least, for sure.
I think for sure it'd be interesting to see how big a bump you guys potentially get in business over the last 2 months, as like submissions come in. How do you set yourself apart from the market? Like, what's the reason that people should check out EGS versus the other competitors?
Well, I think one of the main reasons is transparency, right? I mean, we believe in transparency. You guys are paying us to do a job, right? You
Right.
guys are, keeping the roofs over our heads.
Yeah.
So we feel you deserve to not be shystered, not, not to wonder if there's backdoor deals going on.
Right.
Which is why one of the big things we do is we say, look, we're the only company that's flat out coming right out and saying, look, this is how we come up to that grade in our circle, right?
Interesting.
We use the Overstreet Guide to Grading Comics 100% to certify the book.
Nice.
That is our standard, right? The other guys, you don't know how they're coming up with that number.
Right.
They don't tell you,
Right.
right? At least we're telling you, hey, this is how we're grading. And if you want to go out and buy a book and study it for yourself and understand it,
Right.
you'll see, that, hey, okay, now I see why. No, I mean, granted, we give graders notes, right? I mean, we do give graders notes with every, with every book, but, we don't specifically like go into huge detail. Like when we put spine stress lines front and back cover, we don't put 3 lines on the front cover, 4 lines on the back cover. We don't do that, but
I think even the minimum on a, like, it's frustrating to get a 9.4 and not know why. Because sometimes
exactly.
Even just the small note of spine stress. Oh, there is spine stress. I tell people this, and I've said it in other videos. When you're grading your own comic, I always knock my comics down at least 2 to 4 points, because I know I'm going to be biased looking at my book. I'm going to think I made a better purchase than I did. I'm going to overlook a spine tick here. There's something I'm going to miss most likely, right? When you guys get them, you don't care about what this book grades as, right? You care about getting the grade right. And so you're just going to go by what you look at. And so like when you get those 9.4s, I've even got 9.0s, and it's like, what happened here? And I don't see a crunched corner. I don't see spine stress. And so to have even just those small notes on every book is like, that's a huge win for the consumer, in my opinion. That's just personal experience and multiple points of frustration on books where I have no idea why I got that grade.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look, we give you a grade from 0.5 all the way up to 9.9.
Yeah.
Because why are you going to get a book and you're getting a 9.8 or a 9.6 and you're looking at it and you're like, I didn't see anything. I looked over this book with a fine tooth comb and I had it and why did I not get a 10?
Right.
Why did I not get a 9.9? Why you should know.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's only fair that you should know. Now, why the other companies maybe don't take the time to do it on every grade, who knows? I mean, that's
right.
It's their company, right? I mean, they could do what they want, but I really think between the transparency, right, that we give, obviously the colored labels, okay, I mean that's always going to kind of differentiate us from other people. But again, kind of going back to the last point when we were talking about like how the colored labels came to be, I was very skeptical. I mean, I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
But one thing always worried me, and that was, you know, are people going to look at us just for our labels? Are we going to be like a gimmick? Are people going to think we're a gimmick and not, you know, not a real, you know, oh, well, you know, yeah, you can get a colored label, but, you know, who knows about the grade or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it would delegitimize us a little bit. That was my only, you know, little concern about it. But, you know, it is what it is, right? I mean, you know, if people want to just look to EGS just because of the label and that's it, I mean, hey, fine, you know, but, you know, we want to, you know, I myself always wanted to make it known that it's the whole experience, it's the whole service as a whole why you should be using EGS. Don't just use this because of a label,
right?
You know, just like using another company because of a case,
right?
Or, you know,
it's a full-fledged package.
Right, it's a full-fledged package, and I think that's what differs us because of our customer service, right? I mean, that's paramount to us. You know, I mean, why these other people, these other companies can't like hire people to sit at a desk and answer phone calls and reply to emails? I mean, you would think, you know, the millions and millions of dollars in profit that they make a year, they would be able to afford somebody to sit down at a desk in their facility.
Yeah.
Right. But hey, again, not my thing, but that is our thing. We're always going to have somebody here to answer the phone if you call.
Yeah.
Answer an email if you send it. You know, respond to a DM if you send it. Because if we don't do that, then why, you know, to me, why would you use a company that doesn't even care if they answer you or not?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I started it, because I felt the same way. I try to get a hold of somebody, forget it.
Right.
You know?
No, I've been kind of down that road of it's like, well, ask on the forums, and then the forum is like, did you call and submit a ticket? Okay, let me call and submit a ticket. Okay, you need to call accounting. You called the wrong number. And it's like, guys, I sent you my thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And I'm happy to pay you for the service to grade them. But you got to, like, there's only so many hoops I can jump through here. Could you have just transferred me the first time instead of me going back to the website, instead of me going back to here? And all you had to, like, it was a simple question. Like, it wasn't that complicated. And then a lot of times you're right, there's not a lot of transparency. And I think that, I mean, it's frustrating when I've called different grading companies and you get the answer of like, well, it's in process. And it's like, okay, but can you tell me where in the process? Because like it's been in grading encapsulation for 3 weeks, and that's usually like the very last check. So from a customer standpoint, I think that's where a lot of us feel frustration with some of these other companies.
And that is the main reason why I thought that there was room for another company, because I just seen people just getting so sick and tired of it, you know, and frustrated with it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know.
Yeah, I've said many times they're both of the biggest companies, and especially the biggest one, they're more vulnerable than I've seen a company before. There just isn't a lot of competition, and then the competition's not kind of getting the publicity that they're there and available. And so even myself, and I guess that brings me to my next question, and that was probably I looked in the EGS a while ago. I think I watched a video on Reggie's channel. It was before you guys made the new cases announcement. I remember that, because that was one of the big things. I was always like, I don't like the sticker. I don't like the sticker. I want a sealed case. I heard you guys have some new cases coming out. Do you want to talk about them a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, you know, what I had to do, one of the things I had to do in order to obviously be a grading company and open up EGS is to have a case.
Right.
And, you know, without me being in the grading industry, right? I mean, I thought, it's no big deal, right? I'll find out what these cases are all about, and shouldn't be no big deal to get these cases that these people are using. Man, I tell you, I did not expect what goes into producing these things. You would never think it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just the money, the time. I mean, it's a big deal. So when I started to look into it, I was like, this might have to wait a while, right? And then all of a sudden, I seen a video on comic skins. I said, well, let me check this out, and let me see. Maybe I can make it work. I don't know.
Yeah.
First, I got to see the product, because if the product's not good, I'd rather wait and not use. So I got in touch with the owner. He sent me a comic skin, and I liked the case.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's things that I knew people were going to probably not like.
Yeah.
Because I know everybody's kind of used to one kind of way and one type of slab, right? But I said to myself, I said, well, how can I make this good enough to where if somebody gets a book graded by EGS, they'll feel comfortable in the security aspect? Because let's just face it, comic skins are made to be opened.
Yep.
Right? And when you have a grading company, it's the total opposite.
Right?
Those books are made to seal in there and be tight, so you can't open it. You have to crack it. So I got the product, and I said, well, what can I do here? I looked into some different things, and I said, well, one of the things I can do is, when you get a comic skin kit or case, the inner liner that the book goes in is not sealed all the way. It's meant so you could take the book in and out of the inner liner. So I said, well, one thing I can do right off the bat is I can buy a sealer, right?
Yeah.
Learn how to seal, and now I can completely seal that book in the inner liner when I put a book in there. So that was step number one in the right progress. So,
gotcha.
Now, you have to, after that's in there, the case opens and closes. It's got these little hinges on top.
Right.
So I said, well, now that I've got that fixed, what am I going to do to the outside of it that maybe will make people comfortable?
That hasn't been
but I didn't want it to look bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I did some more research, and I found these, they're clear, I don't want to say stickers, but, I guess you could call them stickers or seals or whatever. But I said, well, if I put one on the left, one on the right, one on the bottom, they're clear. So it's kind of hard to see that it's on there, but yet it's kind of sealing. Yeah. It's sealing it in, right? And then I said, well, on top of it, maybe if I put a tamper-proof sticker on there, if somebody's going to try to take it off or open it, you're going to know it's been tampered with. It might not crack, but because of that, that seal, it's going to, obviously they're made, the security seals are made to where you take it off, it leaves this residue that you can't take off.
Yeah.
So once I got all of that, figured out, I said, well, I ran it by some people in the community, YouTube channels. And I said, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm looking to do. And this is my product. Do you think it would be okay? Do you think people would accept it if I do this? And I sent them one. And everybody that I had sent one came back and said, yeah, they felt that, the security was good enough, that it wouldn't be such a big deal. But again, I knew right from the get-go that, look, we need to start making our own cases and designing our own cases as soon as we can. I mean, I knew that
Yeah.
from the get. I mean, let's just call it what it is, right? I mean, not only because there was things on there that, to me, I didn't like, right? But just the cost of how much I'm paying for them,
Yeah.
right? Because I have to pay a third party now to get these, right? When you make them yourself, all the money is in the tooling and the molding. Once you have that, then the cost per case is not
Yeah.
that much. But when I'm getting them through a third party, I'm paying almost double
Right.
or triple,
Right. I was gonna
right, per
say,
case. And now I'm at their mercy in
getting
getting
supply.
cases.
Yep.
So, that's turned into a whole nother thing. But, that's kind of how I said, I think this is good enough
Yeah.
for now until I can move to the next level and start producing our own cases. And
Yeah.
I figured, maybe by year 5, or end of, middle of year 5, we can start maybe designing and start the process of doing it. I mean, here I am, middle of year 4, and we should have the new cases actually here in 2 to 4 weeks.
Nice.
So it just blows my mind how I didn't expect to get them this soon, be able to get them this soon. But I mean, I'm just, humbled by everybody's, response to EGS. I mean, it's all of you that make us. And, as that continues to grow, the better we can get. And that's all the way around.
Right.
Better products, right? I mean, better availability so we can go out and meet everybody. I mean, now we can, again, make products better or make websites better. I mean, look into doing other things, censuses, and I mean, all these other things. It all costs money.
Right.
Right. So, we're excited. I mean, we're excited about this new case. Again, as I mean, look, some people love them, some people hate them.
Yeah.
And, we felt that, if we're going to do it, it needs to be more in the image of what's already out there. So it's universally accepted. So there's no more excuse. Well, I'd use it, but those hinges, or I just don't like you said, I don't like the sticker. I don't like the hinges. Okay. I get it. So now there should be no excuses. So.
And I do think, to be fair, I was talking to my partner Chris about this, and there are other things. It's interesting. I play airsoft with my kids, and so like when we go play airsoft and they register the speed of your guns out there to make sure you're safe, the way they do that is with a sticker that is tamper-proof that then goes on the gun. So I'm more than willing to put the safety on my life in these stickers, right? But then I was like, then I have this weird drawback about it when it comes to comic books, but not when someone's shooting at me. Like that kind of doesn't add up. It's more, that sounds like a me issue versus the product's issue in that sense.
Well, it comes back to the point that some people think it just doesn't look good, like visually.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, well, I still don't think it's secure enough. Yeah. So those are the two knocks when it comes to that. And then of course, I mean, the hinges on the top, of course, that's all just visual. People just don't like it for that reason. And I get it, man. Look, I get it because, if you have your slab sitting in your slab comic box, we can't put a sticker on the top because of those hinges that tell you what the book is. So when you're looking down on your comic box, you don't have to flip through it to see what book it is. You can see the top sticker to see what book it is. You know what I mean? So just little things like that can go a long way with people. So,
Well, I mean, that's baby steps. It's people don't understand business sometimes, and you don't always start out with enough capital outlay to do everything you want. And so it's a lot of businesses start in that fashion where it's like it comes in phases. We're doing this in phase 1. We're doing this in phase 2 based on the capital we acquire, et cetera, on down the road. And even the biggest companies, Coca-Cola still does that today. They're not just sitting there with like, we've got enough can factories and a winning product. We're not going to innovate and continue to grow and do things anymore. So that's the portion a lot of people don't understand on the business side. Like, it doesn't just magically happen, guys.
Right.
Typically, if someone has that money to begin with, they're usually investing it in someone else's thing versus doing all the work themselves.
Absolutely. So, I've stated before, I don't have any backers, I don't have any contributors. I don't have, there's no board, I mean, it's just me. It's my own, my own money, my own everything, I have nobody to answer to except to my customers.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have a boardroom that I have to say that are saying, hey, numbers are this or numbers are that, or no.
We need this much in return next month. What are you going to do to get there?
Right.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think people realize a lot of times the business with the board, and investors, the goal of the business is to make money for investors. It's not actually really to provide you with anything. It's to find a way to take your money and get it to those investors. If it happens to be a product that provides you something in the interim, like, that all works out, but that's not what their real goal is to do there.
Yes,
It's to generate revenue. How many people do you actually have grading with you?
It's just me right now. I'm the only one that grades right now. But again, I think with these new cases and everything, I think, my inventory and orders and everything are going to really go up.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be, happy to train somebody here, soon. But, until then, and like we were just talking, right, that's all about revenue and what you can do.
Right.
I mean, I can, I only have the resources to, have so many, people. Not saying that, we can use more right now. No, because, you go by what you have and what you can handle.
Right.
Right. So right now we're at this point to where, we can handle what we have. But will that change?
Hopefully.
I'm sure it will. But if it does, then guess what? I get to hire more people.
Right.
Which means I get to give somebody else a job.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all, that's the way it's supposed to work. But yeah, I mean, right now, as far as grading, it's just myself.
And it looks, I think I saw on the website, it's about is it 70-day turnaround time right now?
Yep. It's about 3.5 months, right in there. Okay. And again, that just has to go with, because I'm handcuffed with, happen to deal with a third party with cases, it's really gotten bad. I mean,
so it's not even the grading itself. If you had an unlimited number of cases, that time would not be that long.
Correct. Correct. That's the only reason why it's gone up. It used to be 30 days.
Gotcha. So your
it used to be 30 days.
Is that's an operational thing with that manufacturer of that plastic?
It's so now when we make our own, I will have a supply.
Right.
Right. And then guess what? When I go through half of my order, I could just reorder
more.
I'll make as many as I want, thousands at a time. Right. I mean, so
I don't think people realize that, and you're spot on with that manufacturing aspect. When you have to create your own molds, and then there's a bunch of rights that go into the shape of it, how it functions, etc.
Tooling.
That is a huge amount of outlay to get that done. But when you're using like a comic skin, even if you're getting it at a discounted rate somewhere, it's still going to be at a rate less than comic skin gets them for, and you're probably going to get charged a markup somewhere in between, right?
Yep.
So once that tooling and everything is done and you can actually manufacture those, it's again, it's a huge cost up front that's going to drop your costs way down over time, probably at an exponential rate, I would assume. I can only imagine. So that's exciting. I mean, that's
and it's going to take me half the time to slab a book now,
right?
Because I don't have to cut all those stickers and add stickers and
it's
do all that. I mean, that's just so time consuming. These these cases, it's going to take me half the time. So
Right.
not only is my profit,
Oh, yeah.
doubling to where it needs to be, to where what everybody else is making,
Right.
right? But it's also taking me half the time to
Yeah.
do it. So, I mean, that's a win-win. And, it's a win-win for me, and it's a win-win for you guys, because you're getting a better product, So it's just a big win all the way around.
But before we go, anything you'd like to say about EGS?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said it from the beginning. I mean, I started EGS for you guys. I mean, yes, I'm a business. A business makes money. Obviously, it's a livelihood, but the way we approach things is from a way different perspective than what the other companies are. We're looking out for you, not dictating to you.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say to people, look, give us a try. Send us one book, send us two books. Take in the experience.
Right.
Before you come up with an idea or whatever. Right. I mean, that's the main thing I would want to say is, look, don't go by what you hear by some people or whatever. I mean, just take it in for yourself, see what we're all about.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you're gonna like us. I mean, plain and simple. It's just that easy. Look, I know the whole argument about, well, your books aren't worth as much as, you're not commanding CGC money. You're not commanding CBCS money. Well, I mean, look, I can't do anything about that. Of course, I'd love for our books to be worth the most out there. If I can't, but I can't do anything about it. That's not, that's not me. So again, the monetary part, I think, comes into a lot of it, to where people might say, well, I'd like to use you, but now my book's only worth, a certain percentage of what the other guys are worth.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's all that's driving you, then go ahead and put up with, with what you have to put up with over there.
Yeah.
So,
I think part of that, I mean, that does go back to the market, and that does go back to us as consumers. We drive that portion. And so if you guys out there want to see something different on the market with that same value, you have to start putting your money where that is. It doesn't magically happen. And so again, I'm going to do it myself. You guys will see it. It'll be up here as soon as it gets back in 80-ish days, because it'll take me 10 days to get lined up and then sent in. And then we'll do a giveaway on this very show. I want to thank you, Tony, for the time today. Really appreciate it. Had a great time chatting with you. Thanks for coming, guy. Thanks for coming by. Remember, everyone out there, hit that like and subscribe, and take a look at EGS and see if it's something you're interested in. I'm going to do it myself, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome. I appreciate you having me on, man. It was fun.